Welcome all to the weekly outlook. Boone here from EWPRO. Looking at the DXY on the daily, nothing's changed. I'm looking at this as a B wave, and then we get an A, B, C in here. This may not be over here when we go up and even break that top in there. On the H4, it's starting to get quite difficult because I am looking at all this as corrective. There's nothing really motive about this. That's why I'm looking for that C down, A, B, C on the daily, but this may not be over up here. I've got this complex correction. We got this 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We may get a 4 and a 5th one up, like I've been mentioning. So a 3, 3, 5 before we fall over on the H1. I'm still looking for another one down here. Looking for a correction a similar size to this over here. So I'm thinking we may become more complex and we get some sort of an A, a B in here, and a C down before we get an A, B, C, before we get that W, X, Y, X2, and that Z down. So I think the market's going to be quite choppy next week. It's going to be quite difficult to trade, and it's basically on all the majors. They're all very similar. They're all going to be quite difficult to trade next week. AU on the daily, we got this. I was looking at this A, a B, and we get that C up. That C up never happened. Instead, we get this A, B, C in here. But again, I mean, this may be an A, B, C in here, and then we get the A, B, C. Or the way I've been pretty much looking at it as this is corrective. Before, all this is corrective, and then we get the A, B, C here. So if I show you on the H4, like I've been looking at, because we're getting all these threes, we got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, sort of 1, 2, 3. I'd be looking for a third one up here. This may turn even more complex as well, because we've got this sharp impulse down here and then another impulse. This is looking corrective here, so we may get 3 up here, like an A, B, C up in here, and then A, B, C as your larger flat before we get A, B, C. It may turn motive if this is the A, B, C on the daily. Well, this will turn motive and we get a W, X, Y, X2 and a Z up breaking the daily top. But I think it's going to become more complex at this stage. We sort of do have 3 down. Got like 1, 2, 3. This is looking rather bullish. We may get more upside here, like for that A, B, C, like I mentioned, then an A, B, C, that flat before we get the A, B, C. So it is going to be quite difficult to trade. I'll just check to see if there's yeah, it's more bullish, even on the M15. Yeah. This one didn't go up and break that top. This one here didn't go up and break that top, so it makes it difficult. GU on the daily. Again, nothing's changed on this. There's a couple of different scenarios, like all of them on the daily. I was looking for this A, B, C here. That never played out. Then we got this A, B, C up in here. We got 3 up in here. Not really very impulsive down. But this here may be a flat. I'm still not ruling out that as a flat, and we get an A, this is a B, and we get a C up in here. Like I've been mentioning, if you follow me. The H4 is where it gets a little bit more difficult, because it's really more bearish, I believe, because we got the 5 down in here. We lost all the bullish divergence, so I was just looking for a larger correction, which we got. And then we get another 5 down in here. Again, on the H1, it's looking more bullish. at this particular time. So this may be a flat here, like, and all the flat here. We sort of get like an A. All this is a B, and we get a C up in here as the larger correction before we get more downside, and that's definitely possible. This is looking rather bullish in here. We did get a rather large impulse up on the news during the week, US news. Unfortunately, it didn't really give us much in the way of trading. We sort of got an A, B, C here. We got that impulse correction, and we got another one up, but now we have all that bearish divergence. So really, it becomes difficult because this here looks bullish. So, you know, this here maybe like 1, 2, 3 up, and A, B, C here before we get the A, B, C. So yeah, if you get the bullish setup, you definitely could look for another higher high. We are, like I mentioned, we are getting a lot of bearish divergence. So I mean, it may take off for that daily, like we're looking for on that daily, get that C up, or else it gives us more downside, like I was mentioning on the H4. EU, nothing's changed here. I've had this structure, what I'm looking at, for a long time. Looking at this like A, we've got 3 down in here for a B wave, then looking for that A, B, C, then an A, B, C as some sort of flat before we get A, B, C on the daily. Whether it's going to go from here, though, it's quite choppy. It's not really showing impulse. It's not really looking impulsive. We got a very deep correction in here, so it makes it very difficult. It's more bullish still, but in saying that, I'd be looking for a correction a similar size to this over here. So again, this may just be an A, B, C here. May or may not just go and break that top, and then we get an A, a B, a C as a larger flat before we get more upside for a W, X, Y, X2, and a Z up. So yeah, it's again, it's quite difficult. I'll just quickly go down on the M15 because they all sort of done the same thing. We got a nice impulse up on that news. It's already given a correction, A, B, C, and then we got a higher high. So we already have all this bearish divergence here. But again, this may be the flat. Like an A, all this is a B, and then we get the C down here for the flat here. You know, this is looking rather bullish. So if you get a buy setup, you can look for a buy. Just have to be mindful. We'll more than likely get bearish divergence. So more than likely it's just a C up, but you never know. It may turn motive. NU on the daily. This one's a little bit better, like the structure itself. I mean, they're all, none of them really played out on the daily, but like I was looking for this A, we got 3 down in here, and I was looking for the C up here. It never went. We got a nice impulse up. We got 3 down in here. So I am looking for like an A, B, and a C up in here. H4 still may not be ready yet. We got 5 down in here. Then an A, B, C, larger correction. Then we got a W, X, Y. This still can be an X2, and we still get another one down here yet before it goes. That's a little bit concerning on the lower time frame, though. It does look rather bullish. I'm looking for this time factor on the H1. I think I had these on here last week, but we're looking at W, X, Y, X2, and then a Z up. Again, you'll have to be careful with this because it may just be like an A, B, C here before we get an A, B, C to fill in that time factor. And then we get that W, X, Y, X2, and we get that Z up. So you just have to be mindful that they may turn a little bit more complex at corrections. And this basically goes with all the majors at this stage. UY on the daily, we're only looking for sells, like I've mentioned many times before. We got all that bearish divergence. We got the 5 up. Got this like W, X, Y, X2. We got that Z up. So I'm waiting for a larger correction back to at least to the 50 fib of that. H4, it's really, it's turning more complex. We had a nice 5 waves up there, and we had all the bearish divergence. Sort of gave an A, B, C here. I was looking at an A, B, C. This one didn't really go down as far as I would have liked. And then I was looking for an A, B, C. Sort of, yeah. At this stage, it's more bullish. We've got this bull hidden here, like I've mentioned last week. For the sell, we really wanted to go and break that low, then give us a correction to sell. Instead, it hasn't given that. It has given a bull hidden here. So this may be either deep to this move here, or it goes and breaks the top with that bull hidden present. This was quite, it looks so bearish. We got like 1, 2, 3 down in here. That was fine. But then we got that sharp move up, a B, and we may be getting a choppy C wave here, and we get another one down here. After the 5 up on the daily, I'm looking for a larger correction. So, I wouldn't be looking for the buy for that bull hidden. Can't go into that, but on YouTube. But this is looking rather bearish. If you got a sell set up, you want a nice impulse down. Because on the lower time frames, we'll be getting a lot of bearish divergence. If I quickly go down to the M15, I'm getting a lot of bearish divergence in here. Getting a lot of bearish divergence. So, I'll be looking for a nice impulse down and a correction, and then I'd be looking for a sell. If you get some sort of a setup after a nice impulse down, will be a good opportunity to sell at the top of the market on GY. UY, nothing's changed. I'm still looking at this as a B wave. All this as a B wave. It has gone rather quite far, and it may not be over yet either. But as choppy breaking the low, we sort of got this impulse down here. So I'm looking at a B and a C as some sort of a flat before we get, more upside. H4 is where it gets a little bit tricky, because I'm looking for a time factor here, and that time factor isn't here yet. I'm looking for this time factor here. We get a W, X, Y, X2, and a Z up. Again, this, I dare say this is going to turn quite complex. It's very similar to GY. The structures are virtually identical. We got that sharp move down, A, B, C, and then we got like an A, a B, and we're getting a C up here, I believe, as some sort of a flat. So I'll be looking for more downside. We are starting to get bearish divergence in here now too, I believe. If that top's been broken, I'll have a quick look. Oh no, this top here hadn't quite been broken. Ideally, this top here gets broken, get a nice impulse down and a sell set up. That's, this is what I'll be looking for the sell. I'm not really interested in the buy. We're right at the top of the market on the daily. So, USD CAD, and this is very difficult, like I've mentioned. We didn't get that Z up going, breaking the top. Instead, we got this large flat in here for an A, B, C. That flat before we got that A, B, C. We got that C up eventually. It took a long time. You can see how choppy this was in here. We were waiting for it and waiting for it. Eventually, it did come up to that 100 fib, the target, but yeah. The H4, I was looking for an extended wave in here. I was looking for a WXY, X2 and a Z up. It never went that wave Z. Instead, it's giving a larger correction. I would be staying out of this. It's very, yeah, like we got 3 down in here, or you could look at it as a flat here, like an A, B, C, A, B, C, and then we got an impulse up. It's very deep correction though, if we're looking at it that way. It really is more bearish. I would be waiting for a correction in here to sell. I'll be waiting for a correction in here. If we get a correction in here, you could look for the sell. The Swissy on the daily, this was one of the nicer ones. We had that 1, 2, 3 in here, bounced off that lower trend line. We got all that bullish divergence, nice impulse up. On the daily, I'm waiting for the daily correction before I load up for a wave C, or it may turn motive. H4, it's very much bearish. We got all that bearish divergence. So I'll be looking for, excuse me, we've got a nice impulse down. We get 1, 2, 3 up in here before we get at least a C down, or it turns motive, and gives us 5 down. Really, I want 3 up in here though, before I look for that sell. So ideally we get like an A, a B, and we get a C up in here. Nice impulse down, bearish setup, and we look for that sell. This is what I'll be interested in. I'm not really looking for that buy. If you're looking for the buy, you're just buying into a correction, so it's a little bit risky. Yeah. Quick look at EG on the daily. I don't like this at all. I really need this low to be broken before I'd even touch this. Like I've been mentioning for a long time, this looks very bearish in here. So I would like to see another lower low. And then if we get bullish setup, then we can look for the buy. There has been buys on the lower time frame and that, but on the daily that looks very corrective, and it's very there's nothing motive about this. This is very much bearish to go and break the low again. I mean, there was all these buys like I've shown. We had those 3 down there, buy that, then we had that bull hidden here. It's given us a deep pullback, and it still may even go and break that top, but I'd be then looking for a sell to go and break the low. Not that I'd be selling this, because this is at a low on the daily, but yeah, there's really not much, yeah, even that. I mean, it's still looking bullish, but yeah, we already have the bearish divergence, and that is very risky. WTI, excuse me. Looking at this as a B wave, like I mentioned, we get that an A, B, C before we get that larger A, B, C. On the H4, I was looking for another one up. We're waiting for this time factor, like I've mentioned. I've put these arrows on quite a while ago. Looking for that WXY, X2, looking for this time factor, and then we can look for a buy for a wave Z up. H1, like many of the other pairs, it's more on the M15. But we got a nice impulse up on that news. We got a nice impulse up. I was looking for an A, B. Friday, I was looking for a buy. If I got a buy as a flat here, I'd be looking to buy. it still is possible that this is a flat. You know, if I just quickly go down to the M15, it's more on the M15 time frame. So, you know, this was very choppy in here, sort of got break at the top, very sharp move down. You want a really nice buy setup if you're going to buy this flat here, this expanding flat, or else it could, you know, come down and break the low. I mean, after you get this impulse down, you know, if you've got a sell set up, you could even look for a sell, you know, to go and break that low. We're at lows. Well, you know, on the H4, we've got a lot of bullish divergence. No, sorry, we don't have a bullish divergence yet. But on the H1, we have all this bullish divergence in here. So I'd be looking for at least an ABC up, and, you know, a may turn motive. More interested in a buy than the sell. A quick look at gold. There's not really much I'm looking at here. Looking for this time factor wherever this, like a WXY, we may not even be over on the wave Y, and then I'll be looking for the X2 and a Z up. I'm waiting for a time factor here. Other than that, I'll pretty much stay out unless I'm just scalping. There was a nice scalp in here to buy this. But yeah, we got the 5 down, like I've mentioned. We got that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 impulse up. This was your buy here, and it gave you that buy. We're looking for that last week. If you go back in my video, there's a little correction there. But this was quite nice, you know. So now you'd be looking for the X2. You wait for the WXY. You wait for that X2, and then you look to trade that wave Z up. Silver's very similar, but it's virtually identical. So I'm going to, you know, again, you know, look for this wave Y, X2, and then a Z up on the daily. And if I just go down to the H1, it's virtually identical. You know, we got this WXY, X2, and get a Z up. Actually, this one is a little bit different. We've got that WXY, looking for that X2, and that Z up. We lost the bearish divergence, so I'd be looking for a larger correction in here before we get more upside. Quick look at Bitcoin. We have that time factor here now. We've been waiting for this time factor for a long time. For this, like WXY, we're waiting for that time factor on the X2, and then we're looking for that wave Z up. Nothing's changed. Now we have the time factor. So any buy set up, we can definitely look to buy, like I mentioned last week. The only thing I don't really like about this is there is a possible flat here, because we do have 3 down here breaking this low here. So this can be an A, B, C here as a flat, you know, before we get more downside. So we want a really nice setup in here to buy. Let's see here on Friday. Yeah, I think it was Friday, Thursday or Friday. I put this in the room. We were looking for this flat, like an A, B, C here, that flat, and looking for a buy. Gave us a nice impulse up, but it's come straight back down again. So it's made it a little bit more difficult. I mean, we sort of got 5 down in here now. Had a bear hidden there, so we may get another one down. But even if we got like 1, 2, 3 down in here, if you got a bullish impulse and a bullish setup, I'd be looking for A, B, C at least. Ideally, it goes and breaks that top for the wave Z. S&P 500. This, I mean, this is more on the lower time frame, but we're starting to get, like, we had the 5 up. I was looking for a larger correction here, waiting for a larger correction because, you know, this has gone further than I thought, because I was looking at this. We're looking at this A, B, C, and then like an A, B, C as turn motive. So now you'd have to wait for an X2 and then trade that wave Z up. So I'd be waiting for a correction similar size to this over here, then looking for the buy. Quick look at AU 200. I mean, this one bounced off the 100 fib. You know, we got that A, B, C, bounced off that 100 fib, gave us a nice impulse down, but it's becoming very deep, the correction in here. You know, we'd have to look at that as a contracting flat. We get a W, X, Y, you know, X2 and a Z up. More than likely it's corrective and we get an A, B, C. So yeah, I'd be waiting for the sell. I'd be waiting for the X2. You could scout that wave Z up, I guess, but then if you got the sell set up on the lower time frames, you know, I'd be looking for the sell for an A, B, C. Take a quick look at the FTSE as well. Looks like this one's really taken off during the week. Not much to say on the daily. Not much to see on the H4 either. We've got no bearish divergence, so it's more of a buy when it corrects. The H1 is where we're starting to get the bullish divergence. So, you know, I'd be looking for, you know, 50 pip correction of this. Oh, around here. 50 pip correction of all this, you know, as a correction before you get more upside. So if you're selling into a correction. So you're pretty much just scalping. And until you get 3 down, then I'd be looking for the buy again. And quick look at the DAX. This one's kept on going. This one did give us a couple of good setups. You know, we had this one in here on the lower time frame, another one here to buy. We got that like A, B, C. Didn't quite get to that 100 fib. Gave a ball hidden in here, like I've mentioned, and it's gone up and broken the top now. We don't have any bearish divergence, so you could look for you'd be looking for an X2. You got a W contracting flat X2, WX. We're in a wave Y. You get this X2, and then you look for that wave Z up, and you'd be buying at the top of the market. So I'll leave it there. I hope you enjoyed the weekly outlook. If you did, please hit the like button, share and subscribe. I'll see you out there next week. Enjoy.